Control was a game that dared itself to be weird and step out of the masses. Control was also a game I fell quick in love with but ended up hating at the end. Where the games today are holding your hand with every step you take, Control lets the player dive into a dark and mythical look without any help. But what 505 gave us is a remarkable experience you won't see anywhere else. So, welcome to the RBG show, where we look at Control. Before we start, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you didn't, and let's start with this review. Control was a game that caught me off my guard. Little did I know about the game before I started, but immediately at the start, as you're introduced to Jesse Faden, I felt that the game will be something special. The game starts very mysteriously and not giving you almost any introduction. As we enter the building named the Oldest House, what you discover later on, you will encounter the janitor, a really weird dude actually. And the things he says in the beginning doesn't make any sense and it doesn't seem to link together, like my YouTube content. But just a bit further and the story starts to unravel. You meet some people who are not under the influence of the so-called HIS, or his, what sounds like a sexual transmitting disease. Anyway, after entering the director office, you see that something is off. Like an example, the director's brains are not in the place they should be, but rather scattered all over the floor. As you can't ask him any questions, the next logical thing is to call the cops. I'm sarcastic. Of course, the first thing you need to do is to take the murder weapon and leave your fingerprints all over it. Oh, did I mention that Jessie talks the whole game to herself?
What does that mean? You just don't understand. It's just a Jersey thing.
Well, not a big deal because you will encounter people who are floating like air balloons. But the whole game is weird, so why shouldn't the main character also be? The whole place shifts because the old house has the possibility to shift its form, which puts the whole game in a unique spot. The purpose of the whole agency is to find objects of power. What are simple objects, but they can disrupt dimensions and cause chaos. Because Jesse can resist the power of his, what they can control over the old house, so you need to secure those objects. And as a director, bring everything to its normal form. If this all sounds confusing, well, that's the whole point of the game. It is somehow remarkable how the game throws bits and pieces at you. But Jessie comes to the old house with only one purpose, and that's to find her lost brother who was abducted by the Bureau. After finding him, she realizes that her brother is, well, how do I put it? Despite your colleague says he's alright. You will meet various characters who will aid you to restore order and giving you objectives like killing enemies and solving certain puzzles. And I almost forgot, I couldn't start laughing after I saw this guy. I just couldn't stay serious when he talks. But yeah, that's in few sentences Control's story without any spoilers. The whole game is story driven, but the problem for me was I just couldn't get into the story. Even if it had some really interesting moments, I found myself somehow bored. I simply couldn't engage myself in the story even trying desperately. But I found some of the side quests better than the main story actually. Some of the side boss fights were very good and interesting. My favorite was the mold expedition, where you need to find mold samples and fight a huge mushroom-like thing. That was a great side quest. It gave me a vibe I got from The Last of Us. It is also a great game. And I would like to make a review, so if you're interested, I can do a review of The Last of Us games. Just comment down below. The game opens up very quickly at the start, but some areas are not accessible right from the start, because you will need certain keycards or abilities. So, let's say hello to backtracking. I think I don't like so much. Well, to be precise, many games don't pull it off that good. As a huge Castlevania fan, I don't have any problems with backtracking. But the map of the Castlevania works like a charm. The problem is that the game doesn't mark on the map the places you have visited, or show paths you cannot open because of the keycards. So it results you remember where you have been, what leads that some of the side items and missions are easily missed, and you will miss a ton of them if you don't open your eyes. The whole game is divided into levels, and every level has a distinct vibe and atmosphere. Honestly, the version I played, the PlayStation 4 to be precise, had some big slowdowns, and they occur from time to time. Mostly in the intense fights, or when you're doing something and then press the start button. And if you wanna resume the game, it needs a few seconds to get going. Just how I function in the morning when I wake up and don't get my coffee right away. It takes some time. Not a deal breaker, but just to put it out. And of course the load times. Everybody laughs at Crash Bandicoot for the PlayStation 2. But this game takes the crown, because you will have enough time to grab something to eat in the meanwhile. And I'm not even kidding. But I don't wanna sound like I'm only pointing out the bad things, even if I'm really good at that. The game looks gorgeous. I thought the office building would be a boring place to explore, but the shape-shifting blocks and the deep and bright colors are just extraordinary. The face animations were a bit off, or better to say stiff. Overall, Control is certainly not a game for everyone. But for all of you who like the FBI supernatural tone, you will feel right at home, because the game really goes in depth with the story. There were so many collectible items, from enemies description to people who work there and tell their story, and some inside information about the Hiss and the Positive Good Force. Sadly, I just didn't like the story, and some of the things they done in the game made me rage over and over again. The map could be bigger and better made. The marker on the top of the map is incorrect to some point. I don't like when games hold my hand, but I want some indicators where the side quests could be, without searching every inch on the map. Well, the slowdowns are not a big of a deal. Not huge problems, but those are some of the small things that bother me through my playthrough. But don't get me wrong, this isn't a bad game by any means. And I recommend it to play despite the few things I mentioned, because you will find yourself in a world you won't see anywhere else, and see some really bizarre things.
They'll try to stop us.
And enjoy gameplay where you can throw things direct at the enemy's face. Something I would do in real life on a regular basis if I could. So thank you for watching my review of Control. What are your thoughts about the game? Would you play it? And if you have any suggestions for my next video, comment down below. I have also Instagram and Facebook page, the links are in the description. And subscribe if you didn't, leave a like, and see you in the next video. Stay safe and take care.